We've been to more than a few wine tastings in our show's short history, but few have been as unique and memorable as the Vino Verde event at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. The museum is a one-of-a-kind Venetian-style palace with over 2,500 pieces of artwork and a breathtaking garden courtyard that would provide a spectacular yet intimate backdrop for wine tasting and conversation. We spoke with the museum's Director of Visitor Learning, Jennifer DePrizio, to talk about the history of the museum and how this amazing wine event was conceived and designed.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Vino Verde event that's happening tonight?
Sure. So this is an event that's for the membership here at the Gardner. It's a way to engage our members with a closer look at the museum and also then enjoy a glass of wine in one of the most beautiful places in the city.
And I know that Isabella Stewart Gardner was known for entertaining herself, and I know that you have a lot of entertaining types of events that go on here. Is this, in effect, a tribute to her?
Yeah, I mean, Mrs. Gardner opened her museum on January 1st, 1903 with a big party. So the space that we're in now actually looked very different. It was a 2-story music hall, and at the end of that performance, she slid open these glass mirrored doors here to reveal the courtyard that was filled with Japanese lanterns, and as the story goes, everyone had champagne and donuts. So we, imagine that she had wonderful parties here, and so these kinds of events and other things that we do for the public are meant to continue that legacy of just having people come here and experience art and, enjoy a cocktail or a glass of wine with that.
For those who don't know a lot about the history of the museum, could you tell us a little bit about that?
So when you walk around the museum, you're seeing the works of art exactly where Isabella Gardner wanted you to see them. She placed every single object and left a very specific will that says we must leave them where she put them.
So everything in here is exactly where she placed it, and it hasn't moved since.
Exactly. We can move for cleaning and conservation, but essentially this is what she wanted her museum to look like. So we think about the entire museum as a work of art. So if you move any one piece, it's like taking, one of Sargent's brush strokes out of his paintings. So it's really meant to be this holistic experience, and that's why there's music playing tonight. We have concerts, there's landscape, we have contemporary art, historic art, education, so that you're meant to be here and be in this holistic artistic environment and not kind of a stale museum environment, but something that's really about celebrating the arts and really life in general. And I think that's what she did at all of her events.
So can you talk a little bit more about the inspiration behind the Vino Verde event here tonight?
Yep, so if you think of Verde, you think green, lush, and it's springtime. So we wanted to have an event where we welcomed people into the museum and got to take advantage of the beautiful green space here. So you're privileged to get to stand here in the courtyard with me. Mrs. Gardner loved not only her entertaining, but using this space for entertaining, and her plants and horticulture was something that she really loved. So we just switched over to these awesome, gorgeous, beautiful hydrangeas. And when she would have events, she would often, stand up there on the balcony and have an opportunity to kind of welcome her guests from above. So the idea of just being in this lush, awesome environment to welcome in spring is the idea.
Catering the evening's affair was Peter Crowley, the chef and owner of the Gardner Cafe, and sommelier Trevor Nelson, who together designed a delectable array of wines and past appetizers for the event.
We tried to pick wines that were kind of the season. So crisp, clean, refreshing, nice fruit character, almost floral in some of them, like the Albarino and the Terraquet, Uni, and Colombard, and have that just wonderful floral aspect to them. So yeah, we tried to stay light.
When I was coming up with the menu and coming up with the wines, we have 9 different wines that we were tasting, and there are obviously a lot of different flavors, a lot of different flavor profiles. So we did come up with 9 different hors d'oeuvres and small plates that would, if not match specifically with each one, it would go a little bit somewhat with every one that we had.
This is a more formal event, but I know that you also have things like the after hours program. What is that?
So the museum is open the third Thursday of every month until 9:30, and the place just turns into this amazingly wonderful fun party. So it's geared towards, young professionals in their 20s and 30s, but of course everyone's welcome to come. And there are bars down here, and we always have signature cocktails that are inspired by the collection, and then there are gallery games and gallery talks and just people having a good time. And we imagine that must have been what it was like to be Mrs. Gardner's friend and kind of get to hang out here.
Is her history with entertaining, is that what really inspires a lot of the events that are held here at the museum?
Yeah, we really think about everything that we do continuing her legacy. She's like the one person you get asked that question, if I could meet someone from history. I would love to meet her because all the descriptions of her personality were that she was eccentric and boisterous and lively. So whenever we have events like this, we have the Gardner After Hours on the third Thursday. It's about just having people enjoy themselves and enjoy life, and what better place to do it than in a beautiful museum created by this wonderful woman.
Well said. Well, thank you so much for talking with us and giving us the background of this beautiful museum and of the evening tonight. So we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming to the Gardner.
With a setting as special as the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, the Vino Verde event was a beautiful evening for wine and art lovers both. The event was also a wonderful tribute to Ms. Gardner herself, whose presence was most certainly felt. And as the night came to a close, we couldn't help but to smile and raise our glasses toward the balcony in both wonder and gratitude.